Hi, hello, what's up, good morning, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting, coming at you guys today with a 1v1 live game, featuring, spawning in the west, the UK forces of insane Aimstrong, and spawning in the east, the Wermacht forces of the fairly comically named assbag. So, the map today is going to be Kholodny Ferma. Fantastic little map, sure everyone's very familiar with it. Been in the game since release, so if you're not familiar with it, go play some games on it. It's a really good map. It's probably, well no, it's definitely my most played map. Must have played this thing close to 300 times now. Great map for a great battle, which is what I hope that I have here today. Of course, I got this one off the live games. This was the second highest rated game, because the highest rated game, again, featured Captain S. Price, and whilst I do love to watch him play, I thought I would capture a couple of other players. Also, this game involves the United Kingdom forces. So, as both forces fan out and take ground across the map, there's going to be a couple of minor scuffles, but I'm going to take a couple of seconds just to discuss matters of balance and the recent patch, which Relic have introduced yesterday. Today is the September the 18th, yesterday was the 17th when the patch was introduced. Of course, I live in England, so the patch came out pretty late, so I thought rather than casting some games yesterday, I'd cast them today. Be fresh, get ready, get going in the morning, start crack-a-lacking through some games. And I've got the patch notes here. I printed them out, so I've got them on a piece of paper here. I say a piece of paper, because it was a massive patch, even with tiny font. It's 6 pages here. But some very drastic changes to the British forces. Now, I've uploaded another video earlier in the day in which I discussed some of the general changes, things like changes to explosive damage versus infantry units in cover and in buildings, and things like that that affect all the teams. I also discussed a few of the US and Wermacht changes, because those were the two teams in the last game I was casting. But this game, I'm going to focus a little more on the changes to the Brits, because they're probably the team which has changed the most, as you might expect, from this patch. This patch, of course, being the first balance patch since the Brits were released. So let me just see. Somewhere in all these 6 pages, I've got a list of the changes to the Brits. Hounds here: Wehrmacht, Soviets, US forces. Just bear with me here. These 6 pages not necessarily in order right now. Here we go. British forces. So, I don't know, I think I'll just start by mentioning a couple of the major changes in general without going into the specifics of the details. Basically, fortifications and emplacements have been changed quite significantly. They've basically been nerfed because they were overperforming before. Now, I agree with Relic on this one. I back them up on that call. They were overperforming, particularly the Beaufort. Now, I don't think they were overperforming by much, and so I hope that these nerfs make them feel like part of the game that we know as Company of Heroes 2. And what I mean by that is, before, the Beaufort was so good, it literally felt incongruous with the game at large. It used to kill things instantly, with no respect to cover, no chance to fall back, and if you did manage to press fall back before you lost your infantry, the falling back would make no difference. The Beaufort's accuracy and damage remain unchanged to falling back units. I believe that that was the case. It certainly felt like it. Just bringing the Beaufort in line with how other units in the game function. You know, it's okay for it to be a very potent unit, but it at least has to feel like it is like it belongs in the game, and I don't think it did before. So I am happy that that's been nerfed. Now, having said that, the Beaufort is pretty much the backbone or can be the backbone of a lot of early British strats, and because it locks down an area, because you can use the indirect fire barrage if you have it garrisoned with a squad, and because, well, it's basically a very defensible position, and also because a lot of the British abilities revolve around it. I'm talking about things like Brace, Stand Fast, and Engineers in general are basically a lot worse if emplacements are worse. There's a scuffle just going on back here in South. Actually, just going to mention this game for just a second here. It's quite interesting. Assbag here has gone straight away for the Ostripan Doctrine. Just press pause if you want to have a look at those abilities there. So that's already led to a very unusual start. Probably quite typical for players who use this doctrine, but I have not cast many players who use this doctrine, so interesting. Also very interesting that we've got an SAS sniper coming out in the face of Ostripan infantry. That's just a bizarre choice. Not sure about that, because Ostripan are worth less than conscripts per man, so hey, anyway, whatever, maybe he'll make it play. Let me delve now back into the changes on the patch. I'll try and frame the action wherever it's going on, but I am mostly reading off this patch piece of paper here, so I apologise for that. I will get back to casting the game, but I think it's important to discuss these changes just so that the community and then you guys are just aware of what's kind of changed. Now, if we go and take a look at the British base, he's already taken one of the upgrades, but the teching upgrades, they have changed cost considerably. For example, Okay, well, we can't see the cost for this because he's already purchased it. But the this is the platoon command post, down from 280 manpower 35 fuel to 180 manpower 30 fuel. So you can build this a lot faster, and crucially for the Brits, seeing as how all of their early squads cost 280 manpower, I'm talking here about the Vickers and the Tommies, and also all their upgrades cost a lot of manpower, I'm talking here about weapon racks, grenades, and the 5-man squad upgrade. When you're trying to tech, a cost of 280 manpower is very heavy. With the Brits throughout the entire game, you're constantly taxed on manpower. Every Tommy you lose is 35 manpower, and if you want to build fortifications, you know, they start at 280 and they go up to like more than, well, you know, a mortar position is 400 manpower. So basically, of all the factions in the game, I feel like the Brits are the most stressed for manpower, so I think that this reduction in cost in manpower for teching up is going to be a really big deal. Now, they've compensated for this to some extent, because the cost to research either the AEC armoured car or the Bofors has increased considerably. So it's increased from 50 fuel and 10, from 50 manpower and 10 fuel to 100 manpower and 15 fuel. Now, I still don't mind this for two reasons. One is that overall, that whole platoon command, what was it called? Sorry, it's the platoon command post and the associated tech is still like fairly cheap overall. But essentially, it lets you get the tech building, have access to your tech units, and then pay more if you want to unlock one of the specific ones, either the AEC or the Beaufort. So basically, it does let the Brits have much earlier access to SAS snipers, 6-pounders, and Royal Engineers. And of course, therefore, fortifications, which I think is gonna be massive. Likewise, the company command post, that's the tier 2 tech building. So if I just select here, you can see it here. This building has changed cost. It's gone from 360 manpower and 115 fuel to 280 manpower and 115 fuel. So only a reduction there in manpower, but again, every piece of manpower you can save with the Brits is utterly crucial and really will speed them up like quite noticeably. And that's going to provide you, combined with the reduced cost to the company command post, that's going to provide you with much earlier access to Cromwells, much earlier access to Centaurs, much earlier access to the third thing, what you build out of that building, which is something. What is the third thing? Somebody tell me. Fireflies! Yep, of course, Fireflies. And of course the 17-pounder fortification emplacement, which I don't think I've ever seen built in a live game. But I'd love to see it. This 222 scout car, by the way, just doing work, and if we look at the map, we can see that actually assbag in control. Definitely in control. Is this another scout car he's got to the south? Wow, going for the double 222, so possibly a good time for the AEC to be researched for the British player. And let's see if that's a thing that's going to happen. Not yet, not yet. He does have the resources to do so. I'd quite like to see him get an AEC. I think that would police the field quite nicely just now. So, anyway, yeah, large changes to the teching for the British forces in terms of cost basically have been reduced. If you want to research the Beaufort or the AEC, those costs have gone up to compensate. And likewise, when you get your platoon command post, when you get your company command post, the cost for hammer and anvil research, those have also gone up quite considerably. They also take a lot more time to research. So you get access to your tech tiers earlier, but if you want to specify with either the Beaufort, the AEC, the hammer, or the anvil, that's going to cost more. And that's kind of where they've put those costs. They've kind of like redistributed them to those. So that seems fine to me. This 222's doing good work. As I scroll forwards, so yeah, there have been various other buffs and nerfs, but I want to talk about emplacements quickly. Even though we're not seeing them being built yet from the British player, I do want to talk about emplacements because they've taken quite a hit as these Royal Engineers are going to be forced back by Flame of Pioneers here. So. Let's see, where are the emplacements? Ah, here we go, Beauforts. So get this, the Beauforts had an accuracy nerf, and now I'm not going to go through all the numbers here. If you want to go see those, go and have a look on the forums, have a look at the changelog, it's on page 7, bottom post. So the Beauforts has had an accuracy reduction, it's had a damage reduction of about 25%, it's had, it does reduce damage to buildings to units in buildings, which we'll probably rarely see. And it's also, the shots will now scatter more. Also, repairing... Oh no, sorry, that's a different thing. So basically, the Beaufort had a number of buffs. Now, of nerfs. Buffs? That's halfway between a buff and a nerf. The Beaufort's had a number of nerfs. So I wonder if we're still going to see players relying on it. I'd love to see one being built. Insane Armstrong apparently not favouring that kind of play, and he is quite beleaguered. If we look at the map now, his forces are cornered up right into a very small area. SAS Sniper has 10 kills, but because he's mostly been popping off Ostrapen, he hasn't really... I mean, they are just not worth very much in terms of experience at all. Here comes a command glider. We'll see if that's going to be able to change things for Insane Armstrong here. Now, he's gone for the Vanguard commander here, so if you want to see these things here, just press pause and have a read through in your own time. But crucially, the forward logistics glider, that's been changed in the patch as well. It used to grant double resources from the sector it landed in terms of fuel and munitions. It now no longer does that, but what it does let you do is train medics. So here they are, medics. So they cost 180 and 3 pop cap, and they just automatically heal nearby infantry. So that's an interesting option that they've added. I wonder if we'll see it. I would like to see it. We now have the forward air landing field officer, or the air landing forward officer, or whatever his name is. He's here. Yep. And let's see now. What are the scores now? Oh, wow, down by like 107 tickets behind here. No, sorry, 204 tickets. 196 tickets. Something like that. Maths. Doing it live. On cast. Never a good idea. But basically, quite a long way behind. 200 tickets behind now. Is Insane Armstrong. So that is, he's in quite a deficit for only 11 minutes in the game. Now, this is the phase of the game in which Wermacht tend to be dominant, and where you see Brit players able to weather through to the late game, even if they only have like 80, 70 tickets, they can actually make life hell for the Wermacht player, and come back using Churchills, using their late game units quite effectively. So yeah, so assbag here has chosen the Ostripan Doctrine. That doesn't give him access to a Tiger tank or anything like that. So if we do see Churchills, it's going to be down to Panthers and the like to counter them down. So moving forward in the cast, I'll mention any other balance changes as and when I see them, or a unit that has been changed pop up. As far as I know, Ostripan haven't been changed. Ostripan were pretty much fine before, so I can't see a need for a change. Nope, they haven't been changed at all. Wow, that sniper that guy just fell into pieces. Looks like finally able to change the tide of battle. Many of the Axis forces back at base, just reinforcing. So he's able to push out onto the map. Is Insane Aimstrong. Gonna grab some points. Gonna finally grab a victory point and stop the score bleed, which has been occurring. And wow, this MG42, quite the range on that unit. Able to suppress these Tommies over here, but they are going to crawl out of its range. Wow, is that a Vickers? Yeah, that's a Vickers. Yeah, I see. Sorry, I haven't really been following this game so closely, so I'm just getting back into it. So one of the 222s, there were 2 in the game earlier, one of them's gone down. Still got a good line of 4 Ostripan being frontline forces here. Ostripan not going to line up against Tommies so well, but when they're in numbers like this, yeah, they'll do just fine. We've got 3 squads of Pioneers with flamethrowers, so assbag clearly favouring quite a rush-heavy, kind of a aggression-heavy infantry setup here, with the 222 behind it. Let's just take a look at the teching for the Axis player. So he's gone up to escalate to battle phase 2, and he does have his support armor core. So we could see a Stug, Ostwind, and or Panzer IV coming out in the next, what's his fuel income? In the next 2 minutes or so. It will be a minute and a half for a Panzer IV. So we'll see what the tech choice is there. The British player still hasn't gotten his company command post, and that's probably a concern. He's got to be saving for that. He's probably just looking for the manpower, which he's going to need 280. So I imagine we'll see the next 280 manpower be spent on that structure. At least I would really hope so.
Commandos are ready. Supplies looking a bit squiffy. Line's been cut.
Wow, he's just trained a squad of commandos. Ooh, liking it. So commandos very potent infantry. Wow, this 222 is getting right in. The 6-pounder's going to have it for breakfast. Look at this. Boom. Bye-bye. So, pretty aggressive dive there with the 222. Kind of get the feeling that assbag was just sacrificing it for intel, because it's never going to survive. Even without the 6-pounder, there's just enough infantry here that it would never survive. And all these guys are getting healed. Aha! There we go, yay! Oh no, it's just because an infantry squad is healing them. Damn it, I thought we had the new medics out for a second there. But we'll wait and see. Hopefully we'll see the medics. I would like to see them. They seem very cheap, so maybe we will. Wow, Tommy's getting good penetration here. This is a crucial point to take. If I crack the tactical map, this point here counts for the road. So by taking this one, you're denying the Axis player from like his fuel point, his munitions point, and another point. So that's like a lot of points worth of resources that you've just denied him. The income of assbag, now 13 fuel under the 23 of his British opponent, 21 munitions under the 26 of his British opponent. So taking quite the hit, but he is going to get some Ostripan back on this point. Going to reconnect that. Flamethrower squad pushing through south. They might be able to... Oh, 2 flamethrower squads will be able to displace these Tommies. That's quite the scissor ambush there. Yep. 2-pronged ambush there, doing good work. Insane Armstrong is taking the point to the north, and the victory point to the north. And at 25 kills, his sniper, I believe they get increased survivability. Yeah, 2-star is a really important one for the British sniper. He actually becomes moderately tough at that point. So Able to withstand certainly more than the regular abuse that you'd expect a sniper to take before he dies. So, actually, another thing to note in this patch, the September 17th balance patch, which came out yesterday, all scout vehicles in the game, so I'm talking Kuba wagons, 222s, utility cars, WC-51s, the M5 for the Soviets, like all scouting cars, they all do 50% bonus damage to snipers. Now, I thought that this would almost never come up, but in like my second game playing with the patch, I had a Kuba wagon chasing down a Soviet sniper team. And yeah, it's noticeable. He killed them much quicker than he would have done before. I was able to run them down in reasonably short order. And that's with fire and move on the Kuba wagon. Going to see a light gammon bomb coming out here. There's a good dodge on those pioneers, but they're going to need to get out. Now, commandos, we're watching these the Irish commandos here on the screen now. They have also been nerfed. So let me just find the notes here for commandos. I believe they've taken a nerf to... here we go. So, they've basically had 15% of their damage at close range knocked off. Owing to the fact that they would kill enemy squads. It says here, Relic says they were lethally close, they were lethal at close range and provided no time to react. So, that seems fair to me. Oh, some vehicle has just exploded. What was that? Please tell me that wasn't a Panzer IV. Oh dear, did he just throw his Panzer IV away into the enemy base? Deary me. There I am talking about balance, and we've got players making crazy mistakes. Anyway. So yeah, so the commandos have had a slight nerf. Now, 15% is still a very slight nerf, and they were incredibly brutal at close range. Like, utterly, they would just kill things. So I think even with 15% damage off, that's just going to give your opponents a little more time to fall back units and be slightly more forgiving. I still think that commandos are going to be very, very, very good at close range. Yeah, we can kind of see that sometimes here. Oh wow, these commandos are going to get the run on this MG. I wonder if we're going to see a light gammon bomb. I'd love to see it. I'd also love to see Aimstrong get his company command post. It worries me that he still hasn't got it. We're talking pretty late now. It's like we're past 17 minutes in the game, and he has enough fuel that if he was to just grab that building, he would be able to afford a Cromwell very soon afterwards, and a Cromwell on this map, on this board, even a Centaur actually, would be really strong. So yeah, I'd love to see that happen. Now if we look at the top left and the top right, actually we can see that assbag's forces are very depleted. He's down at 280. How much is a squad of Ostrupmen to call in? 200. Okay. He's down at 300 manpower, and he only has like very few squads. Finally switching to Grenadiers. Ostrupmen not quite cutting it. Vickers in a great position, gonna suppress these guys as they leave the base, and assbag is in a really difficult spot here. Able to break out in the mid game, even without high-tech units, using mostly Vickers and commandos and stuff like that, Tommies and whatnot. Insane Armstrong able to leverage fantastic utility out of these units, and he's taken total map control. Every single unit for the Axis player is on this screen here, pretty much, just some there and some there. That is all of them. So the map presence for the Wermacht player assbag really diminished right now, and he's in a bad way. If the British player is able to push up his units and establish a siege position in this sort of a line here, that could lock assbag out of the game big time, because right now he's only getting +7 fuel a second, so you can forget a vehicular answer to this problem. Good rifle grenade there, but not doing much damage. There I think we see the machine gun in heavy cover. That I think was the 50% damage reduction, which has come in the new patch. So grenades doing 50% less damage to units in heavy cover to prevent these squad wipes, which was so frequently happening. So that's another big change to the game. Now, if we see a light gammon bomb used on this building, I'd love to see that. There it goes. Now let's see if oh, they're going to get out though. They're going to get out and fall back. Nice micro there from assbag, just protecting his units. And he's bulked up now. A couple more squads of Grenadiers, one of which has an LMG-42. Now where are these boys? Here they are, just chunking these Royal Engineers down. Once they start building up some veterancy, these are the kind of units that assbag needs to get himself out of this bind. Now look, Insane Armstrong, you've got all the manpower and all the fuel in the world. Please, for the love of God, tack up. Pardon me. It's making me super nervous that he's not tacking up. I mean, to be fair, he dealt with the first Panzer IV, albeit, I think, based on a mistake from assbag, but if that Panzer IV was still out on the field, I think this would look very different, actually, this game. You know, he has enough fuel that he could totally research all of the upgrades for his Tommies and stuff as well, man. Get them a 5th man, get them some Bren guns, get them some grenades, why not? Got the resources there, buddy. It's quite the bank you're working with. And let's crack the tack and have a look here. So assbag's stabilising just a little. Able to grab one of the victory points. Able to grab a few resource points. Get some resources flowing. Now when he grabs this fuel point here, things are going to start getting a little more real for the teching of the Wermacht player. And these Grenadiers with LMG-42 in mid, going to just try and take this point. Now, oh wow, that's why he wasn't doing any teching. He's just going to go straight for a crocodile.
Enemy causing trouble.
Who needs the
Trying to
company
take
command
one of our
post when
points.
you can call in a crocodile? Oh dearie me. And there is no answer. There is no answer for the Wehrmacht forces right now. He's floating enough manpower where he could get a pack gun or two. But this is issues. Now the crocodile. Oh, let me just refer to my patch notes. The crocodile has had a number of nerfs and changes. So let's just take a look here. The health of the unit has been reduced from 1,600 to 1,400. So that's 12.5% of its health that's been taken off. That seems fair because it was incredibly durable before. Now it's just going to be very, very, very durable. Oh my goodness! If he gets the squad wipe on these, oh my goodness! Still potent though. The flame weapon damage over time has changed, so it does it's gone from 4 to 2 damage over time. Its range has been reduced from 35 to 32 as assbag GGs, by the way. And the flame weapon damage, so not the damage over time, but the actual damage from being exposed to the beam of fire has gone from 16 to 12. So those nerfs have happened to the crocodile. That still sounds fine to me. As we can see, it's still a very, very, very potent unit. Still, it has a ton of health. I just think those nerfs all sound pretty fine to me. It just means that British players are going to have to be slightly more careful with the crocodile, and it also sounds like their opponents are going to be able to escape with slightly more squads. It's just going to be slightly more forgiving with letting units fall back and have time to react. And that all sounds like positive changes to me, because before the Churchill was pretty much just a unit slayer. It would just show up and your infantry died, which isn't that productive in a game structured the way Company of Heroes 2 is. So that kind of concludes this broadcast. Sorry I didn't pay too much attention to the game. I was busy discussing the patch changes, but it was a very big patch, and it's going to be a very important one shaping how the game moves forward. So I think it's important to discuss it. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you have any feedback, or if you think any of the changes are too much, too little, if you think anything was missed out, do comment down in the chat. It'd be nice to have a little discussion with anyone who watches the channel and see what you guys' thoughts are. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll try and cast a couple more games today. I'd really like to see more changes. I'd like to cast a game with Overcommand next and see if anyone uses the new incendiary grenade on their Volksgrenadiers. That would be exciting stuff. I'd like to see what that's like. I've used it myself, and it seems good. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. This is Magpie842 signing out.